Jim Schultz here for Calculated Risk, and don't forget, before we get started, the best ways you can help us are by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Either one of those really helps us out a lot. So here it is. I mean, this is trading 101. Everybody knows this. You let your winners run, you cut your losers quickly. You're trading momentum, you're chasing the breakouts. You want the holy grail that is that 100R trade. Well, we are not going to do any of that. We are selling premium, we're selling volatility, we're managing our winners quickly, we're giving our losers duration. Does that sound crazy? Maybe it is, but your boy needs that watch time. So give me the next 8 minutes, let's dive into it, and let's have a look. Okay, so before we even get into winners and losers and management and all that kind of stuff, let's make sure we're all on the same page through a short premium, a premium selling lens. I'm selling premium. Short strangles, short puts, vertical spreads, what have you. I'm generally not playing direction, right? I'm mostly playing time. I'm mostly playing volatility. There obviously is a directional piece to it, but this is not the same thing as buying calls or buying puts or just buying straight stock. I'm selling premium, and that premium effectively denotes my maximum profit on the trade. I've got time working for me. I've got positive data. The minute that I put the trade on, the clock ticking away is working in my favor. That's the trade that I want to make as a premium seller. Okay, well, here's the thing about short premium trades. If you put a short premium trade on, it doesn't really matter what it is, a short strangle, short put, ratio spread, vertical spread, iron condor, whatever. You put a short premium trade on and it works. You're starting to build up some profitability. You're starting to build up some profits in that trade. Your risk dynamics on the trade are changing. They're increasing. You now have more capital, more money at risk because you had the same amount that you had at risk when the trade began at trade entry, but now you're also risking the profits that you've earned on the position to this point. And in a lot of ways, this is no different than any other trade because all trades are like that. No matter what strategy you're deploying, whether you're buying stock or buying futures or buying calls, buying puts, whatever, whenever you start making money on the trade, that profit that you've earned is obviously at risk now. So it changes the risk dynamics of the trade. But it is very different from the simple standpoint that, remember, when I sell premium, I'm collecting that credit on day one. That credit that I'm collecting is my maximum profit. So I have a ceiling on the most I can make. That's not the case when I buy stock. That's not the case when I buy a call. That's not really the case when I buy a put. You effectively have unlimited profit potential on these positions. With that not being the case on a short premium position, it obviously has to command a different approach. And so when I start thinking about the simple fact that I'm earning a profit, and the longer I hold this trade and the more profits I earn, the more I have at risk, that should change the way that I'm viewing the management of this position over time. So that's why we really like the 50% of max profit as our general marker on the position for a good profit target. All right, so now let's talk about losers. Now, I know you don't have any losers out there, and I know that you've hit 100% of all of your trades, but just hypothetically, should you find yourself in a position in the distant future when you have a loser on your books, this might be something that could help you. So you've got a loser. Again, let's talk about this within the context of premium selling. Let's say you sell a put. Let's say you sell a put and the stock starts going down. Doesn't go down all the way through your strike. It goes down, close to your strike or maybe all the way to your strike. So you sold the put when it was out of the money. Now it's only barely out of the money, or maybe it's even at the money. So let's say when the stock starts going down and it starts approaching your strike, you decide, man, I've got to cut this loser quickly. I've got to get this thing off my books. I got to get this thing off the board. I want to control the bleeding and stop the bleeding by getting out of the position. Well, keep in mind what happens at that moment when you do that. Right? If I sell a put that's out of the money and the stock starts going down and it's approaching my strike and I buy it back to kind of control the loss on that position, don't forget, you're going to be losing on the delta aspect of the trade, but you're also going to be losing on the IV or volatility or Vega aspect on the trade as well, because chances are, as the stock is going down, volatility is probably rising. And so not only did you kind of sell high and buy low from a stock price standpoint, but you also sold high and bought low from a volatility standpoint. So that is clearly not what we're trying to do when it comes to buying low, selling high, or selling high and buying low. That's essentially what we're trying to do when it comes to making money on our positions, depending on, did I buy it first, I want to sell it back later, or did I sell it out first, I want to buy it back later. Now, of course, at this point, you might be just thinking, Jim, that's all mumbo jumbo, man. That's all hogwash. I just want to be done with the position. I don't want this thing to turn into a 200% loss or a 400% loss or a 700% loss. I don't care about your little IV. I don't care about your little Vega effects. Doesn't matter. I just want to be done with the trade. And hey, that's fair, right? You've got to blaze your own trail, but keep this in mind. If you sell a put and the stock goes down and it's not even in the money yet, keep in mind, where is that position headed? What pathway forward through the forest is that position on right now? If nothing else changes about that position, about that stock, what's going to happen to the trade? You are literally going to hit whatever profit target you have. That's not my opinion. That's not subjective analysis. Like, you will hit whatever profit target you have, 50%, 75%, 100%, whatever, because we know that at expiration, all the extrinsic value is gone. At expiration, the stock must sell, or the option must sell for its intrinsic value only. And if the option is still out of the money, or even at the money, it's not going to have any extrinsic value left. And so obviously you're getting hit now temporarily. I mean, that's the nature of the business. I mean, that's the way option pricing works. But keep in mind, it's always very helpful. Let me fast forward to the end game. Let me look at what this looks like a week from now, or 2 weeks from now, or 3 weeks from now, because I know things are going to change. Things are not going to remain static. But am I in a position where the stock still has to beat me? Am I in a position where the stock still has to actually, kind of one-up me on this position, and it hasn't gotten there yet? And in my opinion, when that happens and the stock is at the money or even still slightly out of the money, that's the position that you are in. The stock has not beaten you yet. Okay, what happens if the stock goes in the money? Now it's 60 delta. Now it's 70 delta. Now it's 80 delta. This is a different ballgame, of course. But keep in mind, still, you don't have to carry, or you aren't carrying, the full weight of the full contract yet. Remember, every option contract is 100 shares. So the maximum notional value of the position is 100 deltas. So if you have a position that's only 60 deltas, you're still only 60% of the maximum value of that contract. Now, again, if you hold it all the way to the end, it is going to appreciate to the full weight of that contract. But if you have 21 days to go, or 30 days to go, or 40 days to go, now use the simple fact that markets move and things do change to your advantage. Use the simple fact, okay, I've got time, I've got different adjustments I can make, I've got different management techniques at my disposal. You can use all these things to your advantage, and just remember, at the end of the day, as long as you are sized small enough, which we typically like to be maybe 3 to 7% of our account value per undefined risk position, then you have the flexibility to do whatever you want. Right? That's what we want. We want flexibility here. We want flexibility to remain objective no matter what happens. And then if you want to stay bullish on that stock, even though it's 75 or 80 delta, maybe you like the stock. Maybe you like the company. You're like, hey, I want to play this thing to the upside. This isn't that different than just holding the stock. And so I'm going to do that. Maybe you want to make adjustments by selling calls or rolling out and minimizing your directional bias, but staying in the trade. You can do that too. Or maybe you do want to cut rope. Maybe you're like, man, Jim, you are wrong. I'm getting out of this thing. That's totally fine too. Again, you've got to blaze your own trail. But the key is, are you small enough on entry to be able to remain objective throughout the duration, the entire life of the trade? So as a premium seller, right, take the profits when the market gives them to you. Again, not too quickly. Like, don't jump the shark and jump the gun. Like, take them when your system tells you to take them, 50% of max profit, whatever that might be. But when the market gives you profits, don't think twice. Take them, book the trade, and move on. And with your losing trades, don't be afraid to give these guys a little duration. Don't be afraid to give these guys a little bit of time. Let the power of short premium play out over time. Again, if you're small enough on entry, you have the objectivity to do whatever you want to do. Stay in the trade, manage it, adjust it, or get out. That's what you want. You want the flexibility when it comes to managing winners and managing losers. And I'll see you guys next time.